Is there room in the fast food ring for another contender? Well, believe it or not, there is a fast food fight brewing. In this corner, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, the Big Mac combo, weighing in at 56 fat grams. In the other corner, the challenger, the featherweight, the Evo's champion combo, weighing in at 18 fat grams.
West Michigan isn't known for great skiing, but Cannonsburg's 46-inch base is much higher than that of some Colorado resorts.
Digital downloads may be great for convenience, but movie buffs say it just doesn't replace that process of walking through the aisles, looking and discovering something perhaps you didn't know you were looking for.
The law professors and students we talked to say it's one thing to read that testimony from a paper, but it's another thing to see and hear the testimony on television. And how the president fared is all in the eye of the beholder.
Homeland Defense is changing the technological landscape. Just 4 years ago, these machines were big and bulky and weighed right around 100 pounds. Now they're portable and lightweight. But the race is on to create something even smaller, something in the neighborhood of a cell phone. But think even smaller, down to the size of a bug. Believe it or not, these could be the heroes of Homeland Defense.
You can take every precaution. Buckle your seatbelt, look behind you, check your rear view and your side mirrors, and you think you're ready to go. But look what's behind my SUV. 19 children, and I couldn't see any of them.
Just a whole lot of black smoke just curling right up in the air, and all the fire trucks sitting here.
Well, we're getting a second aerial tower in operation right now, and it's starting to go through the roof in the front of the building.
Oh, God. Fire was well involved when I got here, and at that time we decided to go to a defensive mode, which is fighting from the exterior and not putting any of our crews in the structure. The fire load that's in there is a lot of foam, things that are very combustible, and the fire load dictates that we didn't even go in.
Well, water pressure, so we're drawing a vacuum.
We can stop it right there.
We talked about if they can open the door, they can stop it someplace.
Gerald Singer, he owns that building. I mean, I don't know what he's going to do. All I want to know is how he is, how he's feeling. And does he know?
You know, it's a shame. They just finished painting this mural on the side of this building. It's a shame. It really is. Because it was a nice source for do-it-yourself upholstery people that wanted to redo their own material, their own chairs and stuff. This was where they came and got all their stuff.
Look at the flames through the door, Cody. Just when you think they have it out, it starts back up.
Right now we have a gas fire inside the building which is fueling it, and we have gas crews on the scene attempting to shut the main off at this time.
Hi, Lisa.
Here it goes.
This is going to be a good Father's Day, but hopefully we can get out of here in time to enjoy it with our families.
A mother's tender touch. Father's gentle words.
Is that good?
And a sister's sweet song. Austin Clatter is that diamond. He survived a dog attack.
There's 3 or 4, and the teeth, when they came through, came all the way through to the belly button on the inside.
It was a 100-pound Rottweiler who attacked Austin, putting several bite marks in his side and his head, and numerous scratches all over his body. Across the street from Austin lives Jessica Garland, and her actions speak much louder than these shy words.
I just picked him up and put him on my side.
But the dog still went after Austin, and in the process bit Jessica, giving her 15 stitches in the ear.
What do you think would have happened if she wasn't there?
He would have been dead.
A day later, the family gathers by their toddler, who is surrounded not by toys, but by tubes of life. They believe the dog wasn't acting in a vicious way.
Because he wasn't growling or barking. He just wanted Austin.
What the dog obviously didn't know was he was hurting the boy, and for that matter, anyone else who got in his way. Today, after a couple of scratches and a lot of pain, the boy is expected to be just fine.
We finally got help, and Austin's okay.
We have an excessive heat warning posted across much of the area this afternoon with record heat.
Some of the hottest weather I've ever encountered.
It's really hot out. It's way too humid.
Sure, it's 100 degrees, but our presence here goes a long way. We're attributing a couple minutes of our time. They not only sacrifice their lives, but you know, they put their families on hold. They were very selfless.
It doesn't matter if it's heat or if it's cold, we would do it. It's very important to remember not only Dee, but every soldier's laying in this graveyard. They've sacrificed and they've given all for our freedom where we live out here in the United States.
The weather's not really a factor when you're coming to Arlington, but yeah, it's a hot one. The day that he left, I said, do your best, and he did better than his best. He saved the guy's life, so what more could a father ask of a son?
My son, Lance Corporal James W. Higgins Jr., was shot and killed in Iraq just a week before coming home. I think about how hot it is outside, and then I think about how hot it is in Iraq or Afghanistan and how much gear they're wearing. If they can do it, so can I. I will do whatever it takes to keep his memory alive and the memory of everybody else that served their country.
iPods, CD players, and the good old-fashioned radio, blasting your favorite tunes while cruising down the highway. It's a luxury that's supposed to make a tough commute a little easier and a little less like your... But those hot highway hits could be cause for concern.
Jarring music with a real fast tempo that sounds clashing, it is going to elicit your aggression.
Aggressions that become untamed, experts say, when the loud, up-tempo tunes overpower the senses, making drivers twice as likely to run a red light and twice as likely to be in an accident.
I like rap music and I like my rap loud, but it does put me in a strange mood when I'm behind the wheel.
Safety advocates say there could also be a link between loud, high-energy, blood-pumping music and dangerous, sometimes deadly road rage.
Our heart rate goes up and the emotion goes with it.
Cell phones are a well-known distraction, but some researchers say drivers spend as much or even more time changing CDs or playing with the radio.
I hate to sound like an old prude, but I would avoid music that gets the adrenaline pumping. I think that you should be at full attention when you're driving.
AAA and other safe driving organizations say it's really important not to have loud, fast-paced music playing while you're driving.
Rather have softer, soothing music to help you relax and enjoy your commute.
Give me a kiss that will a dream on.
Lower the volume, use common sense.
Common sense that can save your life and your eardrums by turning down the soundtrack of your life and your commute.
Take it easy.
Steve Shenevy, Fox 5 News.
Sound of your own wheels drive you crazy.
Paint your body, paint the town. Feed your face or face the future. You can do it all in Adams Morgan. It's one of Brandy Dobbins' favorite places to go out. The part she doesn't like is getting home.
It was very naive.
The first time Brandy caught a cab home, she thought the driver was just making friendly conversation.
I was chatting back and forth. Oh yeah, you know, no boyfriend, whatever. And then he said, well, is it because you don't like to have sex and not so much those nice of words? He then proceeded to ask me, well, maybe you do like to. And how do you like to do it? Do you want to do it like this? Do you want to do it like that? And then I began to notice I had been in the car for a while, and I looked up and I was in Southeast DC, and I was horrified.
Right then, Brandy's cell phone rang, and it was enough to make the driver get back on course and take her home. Eventually, fun, funky Adams Morgan lured Brandy back, and so did the convenience of taking a taxi. This time, the driver repeatedly suggested she would be more comfortable if she took off her boots.
I was like, honestly, I'm not taking off my boots, I'm fine. So at that point, he proceeded to rub my leg, my right knee.
Brandy says she moved as far as she could from the driver.
So all he could reach was here. And I was just wearing like a regular knee-length skirt. And he just took his hand and put it right there and rested it on my upper thigh.
The car was moving too fast to jump out or fight back.
If I hit him, or if I kick him, or if I do anything to really upset him, he's driving. He has my life in his hands.
Once again, Brandy used her cell phone. And once again, the driver took her home.
That was 2 in a row. So that was what made me believe that it can't just be me.
It's not just her. Meet Kathy.
And you just start thinking the worst possible thoughts.
Kathy's encounter with a DC cab driver spooked her so badly that she doesn't want to be identified. She was sitting in the front seat because they had just dropped off her friends. The driver grazed her breasts and then grabbed her hand.
I couldn't move my hand away without, there was no way I could get my hand away from him.
Kathy didn't want to get out of the car in an unsafe area, nor did she want the driver to see where she lived. So when they were about a block away, she announced that they had arrived.
And at that point, that was when he grabbed my face and tried to kiss me. And that was when I just flung open the door and raced out, not looking back.
The District of Columbia Taxicab Commission says both women should have filed formal complaints.
In order for us to act and to properly sanction a driver who has engaged in bad behavior is that the public needs to follow up with it.
But Brandy and Kathy say they didn't know how to identify the cars or the drivers. They blame the district's confusing taxi system.
People who regularly ride cabs, they know how to pick up that information. It's just the tourists who really have more of a problem with it.
We asked around. Sure enough, tourists didn't know what it takes to identify a DC cab.
It's confusing that you have so many different taxi companies.
And neither did locals.
I mean, get the cab's license number, like driver's license number or something? I wouldn't really know, no.
I feel like there's probably a number that the cab has, and that's the information I would need.
In New York, the cab capital, each taxi has a unique number. But DC's 75 cab companies are allowed to choose their own numbers. That means hundreds of numbers could be duplicates. So to identify a cab, you need the company name and number. The commission considered a system like New York's, but drivers who've had the same numbers for years objected.
A lot of drivers are wedded to their cab number.
Another way to identify a DC cab is to look for the driver's face card. By law, it's supposed to be clearly visible on the passenger side visor. But we took a hidden camera on 7 taxi rides, and only 1 driver was displaying his. Plus, after dark, the numbers were difficult to read. The Taxicab Commission also suggested asking for a receipt. By law, drivers are required to provide their name, face ID number, and tag number. But of the 4 receipts we got, only 1 contained the required information. Your final recourse is to get the cab's license plate number. But Brandy and Kathy say that's not an option when you fear you may be raped.
And at that point, I wasn't going to linger around his car.
The last thing I wanted to do was stand anywhere near that cab, anywhere near that man.
Now when these 2 women go out, they find other ways to go home.